Today I'm going to be going over a full renovation of this dresser that I got for free from online. This dresser is made completely out of MDF, so we're going to go ahead and give this a complete makeover with some new paint. And I think we're just going to keep the original hardware and paint that to give it a more modern look. First thing we're going to do is give everything a good cleaning using some all-purpose cleaner and wiping it down with a rag. That's going to remove all the debris, any dirt, any grime that's built up on there, so when we go to sand it doesn't clog up our sander or just get pushed down into the wood. Now we're going to remove all the hardware. It just makes the cleaning process a little bit easier. I like to put the screws back into the handles when I'm done so I know that they're the correct ones. These drawers had a lot of extra handles on them that I don't want, so I'm going to fill in the old holes with some wood filler. There's also a couple scratches that we're going to go over to fill in as well. The corner on this drawer was completely missing, so we're going to use some wood filler to fill in that corner, and then we're going to shape it and try and get it as close as possible to the original shape. We'll come in with a sander later to give it that final shape. Now that all the repairs have been made, we can move on to sanding. First thing we're going to do is give everything a scuff sand with some 220 grit sandpaper. Also using my DeWalt orbital sander here to speed up the process. Here you can see those wood fills that we did earlier. We're going to sand over those. Now we're moving on to priming. I'm using a mini roller here with some all-purpose primer. We're just going to go ahead and give the top, the sides, and the drawers one coat of primer. Here I'm using my DeWalt drill and cleaning out the original hardware using some soap and hot water. Now that the primer has dried, we're going to move on to spray painting. Here I'm using my electric air sprayer, and the color I chose is Indigo Batik. It's a nice dark blue with gray undertones. I think it's going to look really nice on this piece. It's important when you're spraying to keep a straight wrist and move back and forth in a slow motion, but remember not to stop too long in one area to prevent drips. Here I'm using a piece of styrofoam to prevent overspray from going inside the drawers. If this is your first time using an air sprayer, I'd recommend taping off the drawers with paper and masking tape. That way you can focus on spraying. Otherwise, just get a long piece of styrofoam or cardboard and that'll work just fine. Overall, these will all get 2 coats of paint. Here I'm just applying that first coat. I'm going to let that dry for about 30 minutes to an hour depending on the temperature, and then we'll come back and do the final coat. Here's a more up-close process of how things are going. It's important to spray from all different angles. As you can see, this drawer has grooves, so you want to make sure that you get an even coat of paint all around. Keep your wrist straight and move back and forth in a smooth, even motion, and that'll prevent paint from building up too much in one area, which could lead to runs or drips. Here I've got the original hardware that was just cleaned. We're going to give this 2 coats of spray paint, and here I'm using metallic gold, and then we'll go over with a matte clear coat for extra durability. Here's the final look.